Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we are going to continue our conversation about living between the ages, which is looking at the energetic turnover that we are experiencing as we move from the age of Pisces more fully into the age of Aquarius, and how this transition is directly related to our soul growth themes in this lifetime, as well as across multiple lifetimes where we have carried these energies and we are now rising up and seeing them in a new way, as well as being given the opportunity to transmute and elevate energies that no longer serve us, as well as go into some deeper soul growth themes that we haven't fully tapped into, that we haven't fully owned our power around. And in fact, this is one of the gifts of living between the ages, of moving through these phases of big change and turnover, is that we also start to see what has been unconscious within us, which patterns, habits, thought patterns, and perspectives we have been using that no longer is needed, meaning we can see more of our own energy, and more specifically, we can make some more empowered choices around how we want to use our energy, where we are ready to shift, evolve, and grow, and how that is beautifully supported at this time. Now, this is part 2 of this topic, and I won't be repeating what I went into in part 1, but part 2 is about going deeper and further into how we can continue to consciously elevate the lower Pisces energies into higher expressions, as well as consciously work with the incoming waves of Aquarius energies that we are moving through in this lifetime. Now, the ages move in reverse, as they are about where the Earth is moving through space, through the constellations, and how the Earth is experiencing these energies through different focal points of energy. The Earth being a very active and alive consciousness, the Earth being very much receptive to these energies, to the light codes, and to what is streaming onto the planet, and how those energies are felt by our own consciousness, our own energy vessels, and what that has meant for us, especially across multiple lifetimes. Because one thing about these Age of Pisces energies, as well as the Age of Aquarius energies, is that when we are deeply in them, it can be hard to see them. It can be hard to acknowledge the patterns or the habits. It can be difficult to see something from a different point of view. But that's what we are being encouraged to notice at this time, and to raise our consciousness around what those lower Pisces expressions have been for you. Specifically where you have felt disconnected from your sovereign power. Because as the energies move into Aquarius, this is the energy of knowingness, of sovereignty, of standing on your own and understanding your individual energy field even more. And this is where we move away from wanting to blend in and now being fully seen. And in fact, that is one of the big themes at this time on the planet, is being seen for who you really are, being seen for what your energy is about, who your energy really resonates with at an authentic level, not simply blending in or trying to disappear within the masses, which is part of the lower expressions of Pisces. As the energy moves into Aquarius, it's truly seeing yourself, allowing yourself to be seen by others, and that alone can feel quite vulnerable at times. and can certainly trigger some areas of growth and where you're ready to claim your sovereign energy, claim your power, and stand in the knowingness that that's what this lifetime is gifting you with. The ability to be who you are. And I feel like what is really happening is that we are emerging from behind a veil that certainly served its purpose, but now we're understanding more of our own energetics and that it's okay to be yourself. In fact, it's more than okay. It's needed. It's required for each of us to step forward and come out with the strength of knowingness that it's how we're different that makes us powerful. So the Age of Aquarius supports diversity, supports understanding how people can be exactly who they are, and there is room on the planet for this energy. And we're learning that through multiple areas of our lives, but it all begins within. It all begins with looking at what we're ready to accept in ourselves now that you've kept hidden from yourself. And this could be something too that you're seeing as a theme in your life, is that the parts of yourself that maybe you held shame around or you weren't able to truly honor, love, or respect in yourself are exactly the parts of yourself that are requiring your attention now and are changing you at a very deep level. In fact, this is where the reprogramming is happening, where we're being required to look at what we've pushed aside or pushed away. And that's exactly what we are here to embrace and love in ourselves in this lifetime. And I feel like this actually relates to energy cords across multiple lifetimes, where it could feel like you're pulling on cords or bringing together parts of your energy that has been dismantled, separated, torn apart, torn away, and you're being asked to bring it back in and to truly look at what that is for you. It's almost like discovering parts of yourself that you knew would be rejected, so you rejected it first before somebody else could. Or things that you weren't able to fully see in yourself. You didn't know if you even wanted to be this part of yourself, for example, or if this would even be something that you wanted to bring into your experience in this lifetime. It feels like there's this theme right now of the universe making sure that we connect with our wholeness and to look at the parts of ourselves that we absolutely need to gather together, like pull it in closer to see it clearly instead of push it away, deny it, dismiss it, or ignore it. And in fact, if you were to look back on your journey in this lifetime alone, you might see that there have been parts of yourself that have kept coming up or kept coming back to your attention as a way to demonstrate accepting your wholeness, accepting all of who you are, all the parts of you that maybe you didn't even know what to do with previously. What we're doing is we're really reprogramming our consciousness to include all these pieces of ourselves and to know that that's what makes us so powerful in this lifetime, as well as opens us up to more of those energy cords that need new life, that need new power, acceptance, and understanding across multiple lifetimes. And we are becoming better equipped at working with these quantum realms. We are becoming more fluent in energy matters, in looking at what we're here to go into and work with across all timelines, because we're getting into the core of some very big parts of ourselves in this lifetime. And we also have the capabilities to work at quantum levels. And I'm feeling too like this is also why there's so much energy happening at this time. It's because of how we are working across multidimensional energy streams. And that's becoming the new normal. And in fact, that's what I'm seeing as well as we move further into the age of Aquarius, is that we are more comfortable in these quantum realms. We're more accepting of our multidimensionality, and it's directly impacting and influencing all of our energies, especially our chakras, especially what we're tapping into when we go to sleep, when we have that conscious rest. It allows more of our energy to keep working in other places, in other realms. And it feels like this is definitely part of what we're transitioning into as a new normal state in our energies. And in fact, the more that we are releasing emotional density and mental density, as well as ego density, because I'm seeing these as very heavy energies that have been anchors in a way, that have weighed us down, that have been a lot to carry and a lot to hold. But as we've chipped away at that through our healing and our shadow work, as we've done the work at a physical level, energetic level, spiritual level, it starts to dissipate and dissolve. We lighten up, and then that allows our energy to coexist in multiple places simultaneously. So it's much easier to feel our multidimensionality because of what we have intentionally worked through in this lifetime that has directly related to those energy cords and energy streams across multiple dimensions. So a big part of living between ages at this time is stepping more into our multidimensional knowingness and accessing more of those energies, because I am seeing it as what we would consider memories, where we have memories of various places, times, energies. It's like that emotional imprint or that energetic imprint that we are holding. But we are also tapping into these so-called memories of other timelines that we would say would be in the future. So we are stepping into more of this timelessness that is a part of multidimensionality, and it's quantum. It's also mind-boggling. It's why we can feel overloaded or overwhelmed and confused when we're trying to pinpoint something or understand a story, understand an energy. It can even be harder to grasp. So look at this for yourself, how this is feeling, but this is part of the age of Aquarius, where the timelessness is the new norm, and that alone can feel quite invigorating as well as quite enormous at times as well. What I'm also seeing around this theme is that if there are some big Pisces energies that you're working with in this lifetime, and you would know that based on the energies in your natal chart. And so if you have planets or points in Pisces, or directly working with Neptune, or in the 12th house, they all hold this Pisces energy signature. And it could be that you're working through some of those lower Pisces expressions to raise them up and consciously change them in this lifetime. And I'm also seeing that one option that could be occurring for you is that when you are sleeping, resting, meditating, your energy might be going back to a previous timeline to work on a specific Pisces theme in another lifetime. And in fact, I'm also seeing that that is a soul choice that could happen for some people, where if in this lifetime you don't feel like you've really transmuted those Pisces energies to your own satisfaction, the soul can choose to go back to what we consider a previous timeline and have another incarnation in the age of Pisces, basically revisit a lifetime, reenact it, re-experience it, so that you can work with that energy more intensely and personally to transmute it in that way. So for example, you could have a sense that your soul is choosing to go back and have another lifetime in the 1600s, for example, in order to shift something with the Age of Pisces energies that maybe is a better match for you or a better experience than what you're able to do in this timeline. And this is where it gets so wildly personal and fascinating, is because when we open up to the timelessness of energies, all realms are possible, all timelines, all lifetimes, all dimensions of time. And it can be based on the soul's intention to have a certain experience again or to do it differently. So I'm feeling like many people during this time are understanding these lower Pisces expressions and understanding that it's important to consciously work with them, because a part of you could be really exhausted from these themes as well. And what we want to look at is the root belief system that was embedded during the Age of Pisces energies. And that's what we're getting to the heart of, is a belief system, an energy imprint, an emotional imprint that you've been holding. And this is where you could feel that you've done a lot of work around a specific part of your life in order to change that belief system. And the lower belief systems are usually connected to a powerlessness or despair, discouragement. There could be something in the energy that you're aware of because it's a habit or pattern in your life. And now you're wanting to deeply shift it because you know there's another energy calling you forward. Another potential, another outcome, another belief system that is in fact a better fit. And it's interesting because what I'm seeing is that this is how humanity is supporting each other at this time, because it could be through witnessing others or observing someone else that you've had insight into that belief system or that part of yourself that is no longer in alignment with where you're growing and what you want next. And it's almost like we're showing each other how to activate these Aquarius energies. We're demonstrating for each other how to be different, how to claim your sovereignty, how to be stronger in your unique energy frequency in a healthy, empowered manner. And of course, we're all at different stages with this, but I'm just seeing the energy of various forms of light rising up, and it's shining a light on maybe something that feels lower for you or out of alignment, and it's showing you how you can change something around, see it differently, work on it differently, and how to basically be very honest with yourself around what hasn't been working in your life or in your world. I feel like as Pluto moves into Aquarius, which will begin in March 2023, then Pluto goes back into Capricorn and then re-enters Aquarius again. Pluto entering Aquarius typically makes a very dramatic entrance into a new astrological sign. Something big typically occurs, something significant. And often with Pluto, there's a revelation of what needs to be permanently complete, what is over, what's crashing, what's done. And the Pluto energy signature reveals what is no longer an energy fit on the planet. And it reveals also what the collective consciousness is, how humanity has grown, how humanity has changed. And of course, these are even bigger themes with Pluto moving into Aquarius. So there is often something significant that occurs when Pluto changes signs, and it's meant to grab our attention, show us what has been permanently changed, what no longer works, what's no longer needed, and where a process of transformation can begin. So as Pluto moves into Aquarius, there are going to be even bigger Aquarius themes coming up on the planet. being very clear around what humanity needs and what humanity does not need. And this can show us the road ahead, the work ahead that we have to do with these Aquarius themes. Now, Aquarius involves many parts of our life. Every astrological sign, in fact, has many intentions and meanings. Aquarius is the 11th sign of the zodiac, and it's about the collective energy field, about humanity, groups, networks, what we do online, social media, the internet. Aquarius is about space, engineering, technology. It's where we're seeing all these different experiments happening, including with virtual reality, transhumanism, artificial intelligence, all of the various engineering and technology experiments that are happening, most of them undercover, most of them being protected and not being seen by the public, but they are very much in play at this time. Aquarius is also about how we are able to accept individual energies that create the whole and what we're doing to understand who we are. Aquarius is astrology and metaphysics. It's all the ways that we look to understand energy, especially very complex systems. Aquarius is how all of these complex systems have a role, and they are composed of multiple different intricate pieces that all work together. Aquarius is about the future, where we're going, what's different, what's avant-garde, what is oddball, different, brilliant, genius, but often not understood in the moment. Something that we have to wrap our minds around and get a grip on it because it doesn't always make sense right away. Aquarius is about the cosmos, aliens, extraterrestrials, other beings, our neighbors out there in the cosmos, other energies and beings that we are looking to connect with and to understand. Beings that also have different forms of technology, materials, and resources. Aquarius is very much about, well, where are we going next? What is happening next? Where is all this headed? What's going on that is beyond what we can see? And so we are really stepping into a whole new paradigm of energies as Pluto enters Aquarius and brings our attention to these matters even more, as well as the destruction of what was, and that is a Pluto signature, where Pluto is about permanently changing and ending what is no longer a fit. So as we have Pluto entering Aquarius in 2023, where it will stay until 2044, we are going to have some very powerful Aquarius energies activated that can be quite tumultuous, difficult, intense, emotional, and essentially bringing about big dramatic changes on the planet. There can also be powerful advancements as well as these Aquarius energies come to the forefront and we see what's been working behind the scenes and we understand more of what's truly going on this planet. So part of what we're entering is a time of understanding these Aquarian themes even more, but I'm feeling it too as this really interesting disconnect from where we have separated ourselves from the human experience, the human heart, the human emotional world, and the value of the human experience. Because part of this Aquarius energy is taking us out of the individual and disconnecting us from parts of ourselves that are essential to being here in a human suit on this planet. So we're going to have some very big push-pull energies around what is humane, what is ethical, what is moral, and then also Are we so disconnected from the human experience that we've lost track of what it means to be human on this planet? So these are some bigger overarching questions that are going to come up, and they're going to be pivotal in terms of the choices we make on this planet and where these choices steer the planet, where the planet goes with the excitement of technology, the wonder of technology, all the advancements that are convenient or easy or built in to our everyday lives. We're going to have some much bigger questions come up around what's essential, what's needed, and what are the long-term consequences and effects of these technologies, of this science, and how far has it taken us away from the human experience. And so this is going to be a very interesting period on the planet when Pluto in Aquarius will bring our attention to those lower expressions of Aquarius ideals and also gets into the underbelly, which is what Pluto does. Pluto goes into the truth of the energy, the secrets that have been kept, what has been hidden and kept from public eyes. This is where Pluto will destroy, remove, and basically demolish anything that needs to be transformed and revamped. But the Pluto transformation process is a slow one. It isn't immediate. It takes years or decades, if an energy can even recover at all, because sometimes that Pluto energy will remove permanently something that is truly done and it never comes back again. It never really is shown again or gathers any new expression. So Pluto in Aquarius is going to be a big highlight of how we're living on this planet, the energies we're using and working with on this planet, and all of the consequences of those choices. So again, this is where we're going to have many revelations, and it's going to show us what we really need that is useful and what is not. For example, how many devices do you have in your life at this time? How many phones, tablets, watches, computers, systems, etc. do you have? Because Pluto in Aquarius can shut all that down, can certainly turn off the internet, can shut down social media, can take away various things that we have relied upon, especially out of convenience. And I'm not saying this is going to happen, but this is an example of how Pluto comes in and destroys something so that it can then be rebuilt and it can reemerge in a new expression with improvements, upgrades, etc. There is a cleanse and a purge. And so when we understand what these energies are about, and then we put them into the bigger perspective of living between ages here, where the age of Pisces is slowly fading away. By slowly, I mean over the course of many, many years. And then the age of Aquarius is incoming, also over the course of many, many years. What we're doing with these Pluto energies specifically is purging and removing what is no longer needed going forward, what isn't a part of the collective energy, and what is no longer serving the empowerment of the planet. These incoming waves of Aquarian energies are also supporting starseeds, supporting those of you who are different, who don't feel like you're from this planet, who feel like you hold an energy signature from another place, another location in the cosmos, and you are here to seed the planet, where starseeds are about bringing in different energies, new energies that haven't been here before. And this has been a process that's been unfolding for decades and decades. And starseeds are here to bring in new energies, new solutions, new consciousness, new wisdom. But so much of the journey has been feeling like an outcast, not knowing where you belong, not knowing if you even fit in. And that is all part of the lower Aquarian programming, where the lower Aquarius energies look for belonging, look for a group, look for others or something bigger than itself to identify with or fit into. But as Aquarius energy evolves, it becomes stronger being on its own, because Aquarius is the journey of differentiation and individuation, where you're comfortable being different, you're comfortable standing on your own. And so we have millions of starseeds on the planet at this time who are ushering in these new energy signatures, who are learning what it means to belong, to fit in, to understand that you are welcomed here more than you've probably felt, simply because you are ahead of the curve. You are ahead of the mainstream, and that is another Aquarius energy signature, where starseeds wanted to be here at this time on the planet in order to begin welcoming in what it means to live on this planet in a different way, to open up our consciousness, to step away from the mass programming. And a lot of that programming started back in the industrial age. And it also started when there was a need for stability in our lives and what it meant to get a 9-to-5 job and to get a mortgage and have a family, and how that was a stabilizing influence and a stabilizing phase of energy on the planet that certainly served its function and provided a very important purpose. But all energy is meant to keep moving forward. And so now we're moving into a phase where more people want to do something on their own, go their own way, follow their own gifts. They don't want to follow what we would consider a traditional path. And that is also one of the strengths of Aquarius, is that we learn to do things differently. We break tradition, break away from convention. We understand that it's wonderful to be an entrepreneur, or to do something on your own in technology, or to follow your healing gifts, or do something really different that you never thought would be your path. All of that is supported at this time as part of these incoming Aquarius waves. And it's interesting because what I'm seeing as I describe all this is going back to the Age of Aquarius as being very much about technology, engineering, and all these inventions that we have and that we are working on that are very much about electronics, technology, being online, science, etc. I feel like what we're learning is that none of that replaces the importance of human connection. And part of what we're stepping into when Pluto enters Aquarius is potential breakdowns in those systems that have disconnected us from each other, where for all the ways the internet and social media has brought us together and connected us, nothing can take the place of true human connection and what that means in terms of solid friendships and relationships and people that we know in person, that we relate to. And I feel like what we're going to be returning to is how essential it is to be in person with each other and to have those connections be fortified and strong, not just online, not just the people that you see on your phone or that you connect to on social media or through a website. This is where I feel Pluto in Aquarius is actually bringing us back to each other, back to human connections, and that's what we need in order to support our energies. We need to feel connected to each other in tangible, real ways, not just on screens, not just through our phones and devices. And I think that part of the journey here of Pluto entering Aquarius is going to show us how far we've stepped away from those heart-to-heart connections, where perhaps we've become the robots. We've become disconnected from true emotional connection or physical touch, or what it means to be in person with each other, where perhaps we have unconsciously separated from each other, and that isn't going to serve us for the long term. Because we need community. And what does that mean? What does that mean at this time? And how have our social skills suffered because we all have a phone or we can just go online? How have we disconnected from each other to the point of no longer valuing the human experience as much as we could? And there is, of course, no right or wrong answer. It is an individual answer. But I think that what we're understanding is how technology and our daily conveniences can't truly replace human interactions and those in-person dynamics of feeling each other's energies. Because if we stop doing that, if we stop engaging with each other in person, then we've become the robots. We've become so disconnected from each other's energies or aura or thoughts or interactions to the point where we have ostracized ourselves. And so with technology, we have an interesting tightrope to walk where it brings in all these conveniences and all these things that bring joy into our lives and open us up to so much more. But at the same time, what is it shutting down? What has been shut down? And how can we course correct it? And I feel like this is a very important theme as we're moving between these ages, where we're understanding that, okay, Age of Pisces, when I was separated from my power, or I was confused about who I was and my energy and my abilities in this human experience, now I'm gathering all that back to the place where I trust my intuition, I trust my spiritual connection, I'm in my power, I'm aware of anything that comes up around blame, victim energy, powerlessness, any of those lower vibe expressions. We are very conscious of these parts of ourselves as a collective, more so than ever. But now as we move fully into these Age of Aquarius themes, we have new questions, new themes, new areas of growth to stay mindful of, and new parts of our energy that we don't want to be disconnected from. So if the Age of Pisces brought up how we were disconnected from our deep, permanent connection to our God self and our power, our creativity, our emotional wisdom, our intuitive gifts, now the Age of Aquarius energies can show us how we have been perhaps unconsciously disconnecting from each other, and that is perhaps something that weakens us, that doesn't fortify us for the long term. We need our friends. We need our communities. We need to know who our neighbors are. We need to know that there's other good people on the planet who are trustworthy, that we can count on, that we can go to for support and fun as well. So we are very mindful of these bigger soul growth themes, but I feel like what we're understanding is that we need each other in order to co-create the best possible experiences on this planet. And the more that we can monitor our relationship with technology and with the conveniences that we have, the more that we're aware of those, we can use those, of course, as needed, but we aren't overly invested. And I feel like that's part of what we're going to see with Pluto going into Aquarius, we're going to see where we have placed too much power or emphasis on these parts of our experience and how we can course correct as needed. So as we continue to journey through this lifetime, there will be multiple themes coming up around these Pisces energies as well as these Aquarius energies. And again, these are the collective energy frequencies. These are themes that are happening in the collective, and we're being given opportunities to be consciously aware of what we're choosing, how we're using our energies, and to stay mindful again of what is the human experience on this planet at this time, and to be aware of what we are contributing to the planet as well as what we are co-creating together. And we will move through these themes together once Pluto enters Aquarius again in 2023, and it will continue to stay in Aquarius until 2044. So some big themes going on, and we are here for it. That is why we are here on this planet, is to be more conscious and aware of what we're creating and experiencing, as well as what we are understanding about our own soul's growth across multiple lifetimes. So as always, thank you for joining me as we have explored this theme and gone into some of these energies more specifically. As always, I hope this resonates or at least gives you some things to stay mindful of. And I will keep discussing these Pluto in Aquarius themes as we get closer to Pluto entering Aquarius in 2023. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me here. I have a new podcast episode for you every Monday and Wednesday. And I also release new videos for you regularly over on YouTube. You can find out more about me over at mollymccord.online. That's where I have all of my latest courses, programs, and offerings. And you can also connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to connecting with you soon as we continue on this astrological journey together.